All right, here we go. You're here for the third month of With Tom and Fern.
Not canceled yet.
Not canceled yet. I'm Tom.
I'm Fern.
Our special guest in the
Needs no
orange,
introduction.
in the Big Orange, the Orange Crush, Coach Clyde Metcalf, Sarasota High School coach for 33 years?
34.
34. Sorry. Actually, then that's how long I've been at this place. 34 years. Obviously, we didn't have other opportunities. Did we?
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, you did, because you won 6 state championships, 805 victories, reigning national coach of the year. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, good to finally meet you. I feel like I know you. We haven't met before.
Thank you.
So we're here to actually to talk a little serious today, and I'll let you lead it off.
Yeah, doing a little story and show on Eddie Howell, the longtime administrator, coach, and teacher over at Sarasota High School, who's not in the best of health right now. We want to bring in Clyde to maybe reminisce about Eddie. They go back very many years. You've been the head coach there for 30 years, over 30 years. Let's talk about how you and Eddie got together. He was the coach when you were there, and he was your coach.
Yeah, I met him when I came on the campus at Sarasota High back in 1968, and he was my high school coach, and he was a bigger-than-life character that I think everybody, gravitated to. He had that personality. And I met him at that point. I was fortunate enough to play ball for him for 3 years. Went away to college, stayed in touch with him, let him know that I wanted to go into education, and he went from being my coach to basically my mentor. I've relied on him forever when I have decisions to make or things that I need to bounce something off of. He's been my guy. Back in 1982, I became the head coach at Sarasota High School. When Eddie became an assistant principal, that's how I got that position, I guess by default, because he couldn't do it. And, the first thing I did was ask him to come out and work with our pitchers. And he's an absolutely tremendous coach, a better person. He's a better person. He's played a major role in my family's life, as well as, you see on Facebook and whatnot, your article the other day, thousands of other lives of people that have gone through and not gone through Sarasota High.
Yeah, and what I think is kind of cool too is there's kind of this big circle of life kind of thing. So you played for Eddie Howell.
Yeah.
Eddie Howell played for Charlie Cleveland, right?
Yes, he did.
Long-time famous, institution in Sarasota. So you kind of got this really, long relationship since back to the 50s, right?
Well, and I think maybe that's part of the longevity thing of Charlie was a great mentor for Eddie. He really was, and Charlie was a great mentor for me as well. Charlie was the AD when I came in, to Sarasota High, and I took over as the AD when Charlie retired. The Sarasota High back in that era, there was tremendous stability. I think that we all learned great qualities from all of those people. All Charlie and Eddie, Ed Foster, Floaty Suarez. I mean, the list goes on of people that were at Sarasota High for many, many years that had positive influences on kind of the next generation of coaches, and I happen to be the benefactor of that.
Yeah. Why was he able to connect as an administrator to all the kids? And it seemed like whether you were a band guy, a band geek, an athlete, a non-athlete, he connected with everybody. How was he able to do that?
Well, everyone looks at Eddie as Coach Howell, which they should, because he's a tremendously successful coach. But I personally always felt that guys like himself and Dan Parrott, who was an assistant principal back then, Ray Renone, who was our principal, I think that Eddie connected with the kids that needed help as well as he connected to the kids you're referring to, if it was the kid in the band or an athlete or whatever. Eddie was always welcoming to those kids. He and Dan Parrott set up a blue room, which was a calming room, which was actually our ISS room. Kids knew that his door was always open. If they had a bad day, if they had a bad morning, if they had a problem at home, if there was an issue, they could always go to Ed's office. The office door was open, and he listened to them. And I think the other thing that is a trait that probably all teachers and administrators should have is he knew people by their first name. And if he didn't know you by your first name, he could sell the fact that he did until he figured out who you were.
Who you were, right.
But you know, he just had the ability to relate to all those different kinds of kids, and they knew that it was always a welcoming environment when they came to talk to him.
Yeah. You know, I listen to you talk about that. I mean, this is the same conversation that people had about Gene Witt. Who was the longtime superintendent in Manatee County. He was a coach originally. You know, he came and was interim superintendent down here several times, and it's just the same thing that this. You know, he from the top of the administration down to the janitors. I mean, it was, you know, Gene Witt was the kind of guy who knew the janitor's name, and the janitor could go in his office and say, "Coach, you know, I got a problem. Can you help me?"
Yeah.
And he would. So it's really cool to hear that. You know, kind of those qualities that you know seem to kind of transcend. You know,
and,
the border.
you know, it was a bigger than life type thing because he was a big man and he had that booming voice, and you know, he could quiet a room very quickly. I mean, he really could, but he just had that respect from the kids.
Yeah. Even Barry Dubin from the teachers union likes him. I mean, you know, he says Eddie's a great guy. You know, so you know, if you got Barry in your corner, you know, you're doing pretty well.
I'm just wondering whether a guy like Eddie could exist as an administrator today. I mean, it seems like, you see what I'm saying? Everybody's so uptight and PC. I mean, could Eddie, an administrator, survive or thrive in this era?
I think a lot of Eddie's qualities would be very beneficial on our campuses today. Could he do maybe all the things that he did? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know,
like dressing up or mascots or maybe
you know, that can still happen. That's called school spirit.
Right.
But you know, I think that a lot of his traits of being able to recognize when a kid was in need and being able to have that open door policy, to being able to welcome kids into his office, I think that can still happen. Knowing their names, certainly. Being out in the halls and talking to them, absolutely.
Not the paddling, though.
No. No, that wouldn't work. I witnessed some of those paddlings. And,
he had quite a wind-up, I heard.
He hit hard. He really
So
did.
funny. Got just the funniest thing you remember that you could tell?
I just go back to, you know, the days. I've got a lot of personal stories about Eddie, which
maybe remain personal.
Well, that I probably won't do right now because I don't want to get emotional. This is a day of celebration for Eddie.
Right.
But you know, when I look back at the days when, you know, the pep rallies we had, the community enthusiasm, it brought former students back to school just to watch the pep rallies, to see what the administrators were going to do this year, you know, and were they going to drop in from a helicopter or come in on Harley Davidsons or, you know, whatever they were going to do. And it created a real community spirit. And, you know, I think today's event, I think what's going on with Eddie right now is very tragic and sad, but it has brought a lot of people back together and kind of created that community spirit once again, you know what I mean? And I think Eddie's proud of that. I do.
Can you talk about tonight's event a little bit?
What they're going to do tonight, and it's been generated through Facebook, which is, you know, what you did your article on the other day, but it's 7 o'clock. In front of our new administrative or new wing at Sarasota High School, which is in the Bay Vista lot by the circus tent. There's going to be a group picture taken, you know, and to get to Eddie, to show everyone's appreciation for him, and everybody is welcome, you know, from, you know, people that knew him, didn't know him. You know, if you're a Riverview Ram or a Venice Indian or a Booker Tornado, you're welcome. Eddie will spend time looking at it. We're asking people to wear orange and black, which might be tough for, you know, some of the other schools to do, but, you know, we're asking people to wear orange and black and come out and take a picture celebrating Eddie's accomplishments. So that's going to happen tonight at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right. We got a little slideshow. We'll just take it through real quickly. Why don't you just tell us who we got here?
That's at one of our alumni events, and that's Randy Rand and Nick DeVergelis, two former Sailor greats with Eddie. Eddie coached Randy on the 1973 state championship team, and he coached Nick. Nick graduated in 1969, and I think Nick's senior year was Eddie's first year as a coach.
I thought it was actually Emeril Lagasse and George Brett there, actually.
It may be. It may be. That's Eddie and I watering the field.
It's the glamour of a high school coach. Right?
The glamour of being a high school coach. That's it. But doing a little watering. Eddie making a trip to the mound, which he made many of those in his 30-plus years as a pitching coach, because I always liked to send him out there. He always had not only good advice, but a calming effect, and it's Broderick Rodacher and Brandon Chapman with him, but making a trip to the mound. I believe that I don't know who that is we beat. Actually, I think that's Manatee that we beat there. So that's probably during the Dwayne Strong era, because we look all happy that we beat Dwayne, who was a former Sarasota High coach. Looks like Correll Prine, that big, tall one right there that's playing pro ball now. But that's Eddie's smile and that's Eddie's laugh. That's a great picture of him.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's a great one to end on.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that famous Eddie smile.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Eddie smile.
That's the administrative team. Dan Kennedy, who was the dean of students at the time, Ray Renone, who was the principal, Eddie, and Ed Foster. I saw online the other day someone named that the Dream Team, and that was a pretty good group.
Yeah, that's
that was
great.
a good group.
Eddie was a big boy.
Eddie was a big man.
I mean, forearms, the hands. What kind of pitcher was he? Up in FSU.
No, he was a good pitcher. I mean, he pitched for the Oakland A's. I think he made it up to AAA with them. He had a good baseball career, and then he messed up his elbow, and that was before they knew what Tommy John was.
Right.
But Eddie had a great career. He used to throw batting practice to us, and he threw a heavy ball.
Right.
And that was back before L screens. So if you hit a line drive up the middle that almost got him, you knew that the next pitch you were going to wear it in your ribs, and it was going to hurt. So we worked on being pull hitters and opposite field hitters. We didn't work too much in the middle of the field. But no, he was a very strong, very burly man. When he shook your hand, you knew it, and when he gave you a hug, you knew it.
Right.
All right, that's a great way to close.
Clyde, great
yeah, thanks for
remembrances.
coming on the show.
Okay,
Appreciate it, Clyde, as always.
All right, thanks,
Always.
and remember that event tonight. It's
7 o'clock at the on the stairs of the old Sarasota High building. correct?
Yes.
all right.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Take care. Cool. Thank you, Clyde.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
That's great.
Oh, absolutely.
That was great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good show, guys.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get more people out there tonight who maybe didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, both people that watch this.
Yeah, we'll get 2 more people out there. That's our viewers.
it's spring.
Yeah.